Now guys, we are doing a bit of a comparison today with the Barra and the LS. We've got a F6 Typhoon and a VZ R8 Clubsport. So both of these things are a 6-speed manual. They're both rear-wheel drive, both Aussie cars here. And we're gonna find out maybe what's the benefit of each, which one should you wanna buy. And again, 4-liter, straight 6, turbocharged. Barra, this one's got, you know, intercooler, a tune. Or are we going for the 6-liter V8, naturally aspirated with a cam package, you know, headers, exhaust? What one are you gonna want? Which one should you buy? Today we're gonna drive these cars, we're gonna find out. So let's get into it. All right guys, so in the F6 Typhoon, first up, because I actually own one of these cars myself personally, and it isn't the 6-speed manual, it's the 6-speed ZF Auto, but yeah, I have a strong personal connection, I guess, to Typhoons, and just turbo Barras in general. I really enjoy the way they make power and boost up. And yeah, again, this is just one of those rare cars that you don't see often. These things are just, they're not common. And they didn't make a whole lot of these things. Ford, I believe, they only made around 2,000 or so of these. And again, it's just got so much torque, these things. You know, from factory, they're making 270 kilowatts. It's 550 Newton meters, I believe these had. And you know, you put an intercooler on them, you know, take it to the tuner, and you're getting significantly more. This particular one, it's making over 480 horsepower. So yeah, like it gets serious in these things. 6-speed manual, it's engaging, you know. I love the ZF in terms of just cruising. If you want to race someone, you know, that really is probably the faster gearbox. But in 3 pedals, it's a little bit more fun to drive. It just is. And they build power. They got the brakes too. So, you know, these got Brembo brakes from factory. I love the twists. They're the same wheels that I've got on my Typhoon. And yeah, just very familiar in the cabin here. They did a pretty good job, I feel like, in the B series, making it feel somewhat special. Yes, it's still a basic interior, it's a Ford, but I don't know. I've always sort of liked the ICC. You got a oil pressure, boost pressure gauge from factory. And yeah, again, in this color, it's a hot looking car. And again, bolt-on wise, you know, it's pretty much like my car. You know, it's got head studs, valve springs, plasma man intercooler, a 4-inch exhaust. You know, it's X-Force actually. Mine is as well. And, you know, again, the fact you just do the bolt-ons, take it to the tuner, you can get close to 480 horsepower. It is significantly more than you're probably going to get out of the VZ with similar money spent. So, you know, that is really one of the big advantages with the Barra. And these cars, again, they're so similar just in terms of size, weight. You know, these particular two, they were head-to-head when they were coming out. You know, it was VZ versus BF, Clubsport versus Typhoon, or, you know, Clubsport versus GT. But by the end of the BF range, people had clued in that the Turbo Barra was the one to have. You know, the Boss GT just, it was a bit of a slug. Great sounding motor, fun to drive, but you just couldn't get the power out of that thing like you could in a 6-liter or like you could in the Barra Turbo. Yeah, just build and boost. It's the best thing about the F6. You can just 3,000 onwards, it starts to build. You can hear the turbo start spooling. It's very connective in that aspect. You get the flutter. It's brilliant. The sad reality though is when you're in town, it does feel like an XR6, like a naturally aspirated car. When you get out on roads like this and on the freeway, that's when you can have a lot of fun with it. But yeah, you get out on a nice country road, enjoy it on the weekends, get into the speed of it. That is really where you connect with this car and gel. And visually, guys, what do you think in the comment section? You know, the VZ, personally, I think it's one of the best looking Australian produced cars ever. But at the same time, the F6 Typhoon, it's probably one of the toughest Falcons they ever made too. You just don't see these things on the road often anymore. They're hidden away. There's just not many left, and they never made a lot. So again, leave a comment down below. Which one do you prefer? I'm still kind of leaning towards the VZ, and I own an F6. So, you know, they're both very tough looking cars though, at the end of the day. Guys, again, if you're enjoying this type of content, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, comment below. It's how we travel around, show these cars off, and yeah, it's always fun on an Aussie back road in anything like this. And it gets a little bit squirrely when they get up there, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. But yeah, we bogged a little bit, you know. Again, I'm not sure what these were claimed at from factory, but if you perfected the right bite point at the start, yeah, it's pretty quick, this thing. Let's have a look. Look, guys, we did a 6.2. It's just the bite point. It's manual. You get in the 5s, no worries. You get a bit of practice on this thing on the right road. But yeah, it's a bit difficult, unfortunately, here today on this road. Now in the VZ, guys, and 6-liter, 6-speed manual, cammed. You know, this is what it's all about. You know, as much as I'm a Barra guy, I love my F6 Typhoon that I personally own. This is a car that's on my radar as well, and it's been for a very long time. And you know, again, this particular one with the cam, the headers, the full exhaust, the tune, the intake, it's pushing over 410 horsepower to the wheels. So you know, it's down a little bit, you know, 60, 70 horsepower, but I'll tell you what, it just makes up for it in leaps and bounds in terms of just engagement and noise. It really does, you know. Being able to have 3 pedals, road gears in something like this, it's just cool. And you know, this particular example as well, it's really well done. Very stock from the outside, clean, and they're a hot looking car, these, they really are. And again, you know, even from factory, this was claimed with a little bit more horsepower than the F6. So I believe we were at 297 with the 6-liter. The 270 in the Barra, you know, honestly, that's a pretty conservative number. These things would have been pretty evenly matched just straight out the bag. But yeah, it's low down where you can really use the VZ and that 6-liter LS. At the end of the day, this thing, I feel like it is just a little bit more fun to, you know, row gears in this than it is the F6. It just is, because, you know, again, you got that V8 noise, and it's just more usable down low. Where, again, like we've said this whole video, if you want to get into it and really push the limit, then maybe the F6 is for you. But in terms of just country cruising, you know, rev matching, going up and down, it's, I don't know, I think the V8, it's just, it does just seem to make me smile a little bit more. It does. There's lovely burbles out of the exhaust on the D-cell. And again, just from 2000, you hear this thing. And you don't even, the thing is, right, you don't even want to push a car like this, really. it's sort of happy just in that middle RPM band. You know, you take it up to 3,500, 4,000 RPM, and you kind of want to shift it because you're getting all that torque down low instantly. With the F6, nothing even really happens until you get to 3,000 or 4,000 RPM. So, you know, you really got to be holding on and into it to get the engagement with the turbo Barra. And the 6 liter, it's sort of just, yeah, any gear, any RPM, and you can still have fun in this thing. Yeah, it does just pull nicely the whole way through the rev range. You know, again, naturally aspirated, but again, it really rewards me personally just cruising in this thing, taking it to 3,000, 4,000 RPM, and you have a barrel of fun. It does. You make a bit of noise, you can feel that torque, and yeah, that's why I feel like you kind of have to have both of these cars at the end of the day to really be winning, because this is the car that I like to drive when I'm going through town, or, you know, when I'm just going on a cruise with some mates. If I'm going to go to Mexico, or I want to go drag racing, or actually, you know, do some pulls on the freeway, I want the F6, like I just do. So, you know, depending on how you're feeling on the night, you know, you kind of, that's really the only way you're winning, I feel like, is if you have both of these. Or unless you want to dump a bunch of money into a VZ, turbo it, and put a T400 in it. Then you got kind of the best of both worlds, really. Now, 0 to 100, guys. Look, I'm not sure exactly what one of these things was claimed at from factory. I would have guessed it was, you know, around the 6-second mark, realistically. But let's have a test. Not too bad. That didn't feel too bad. Let's have a look at the time there, guys. Now, guys, right there, we just did a 6.2, so literally exactly the same as the F6 Typhoon. And look, I think this had a little bit better of a launch off the line, but again, that's just where the turbo comes in. You know, at the very top of the gears, it's really hooking it. Where, you know, the 6 liter here, it just sort of, it carries that torque all the way through at the same pace. But yeah, man, you know, look, they are pretty evenly matched, these things. Again, around town, I think it's the VZ, and on the freeway at speed, it's the F6. Yeah, madness. Now, guys, look, we're gonna finish the video off here today. So at the end of the day, which one would you have? I want to see the comments down below. VZ Clubby or the F6 Typhoon? What kind of power do you like? Do you like the inline 6 turbo? Do you like the 6 liter V8? You know, for me personally, again, I need both, and I'm gonna have both. So more street stuff, cruising, I think it's a VZ. In a manual, it has to be. And when you want to get out, actually race, start feeling the power, yeah, it's the F6 Typhoon. It's unreal. It really is. But again, that's the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you on that next one.